Hey everyone, it's Amador, and this was supposed to be a video for Shop Your Stash Saturday with Sabrina, and of course you guys, I will leave a description, a link to her channel, and this is a little thing that a little collab that we're doing for us to use the items in our craft rooms that we already have. So, I also got a special request, and I just off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of my subbies was asking if that they like, this series that we're doing, and if I could use maybe some stamps or some items that are store-bought. So I dug through some of my stamps, and I did find these. These are from Hero Arts, and I got them from, I'm pretty sure, from Michael's. And the only reason I got them was because they were like, somehow I got them like 60% off with an additional discount and whatnot. They have other ones, and they have this rose one. This is a layering stamp. Now, I have rose layering stamps. The only reason I got this one was it's because it's a little bit bigger, and it actually came with sentiments. You could do so much with that alone. But I got this one because it has a variety of things. It has the flamingo, and it's the 3-layer ones. Pineapples, I have an idea of what I want to do with that one. Some pompons and the hibiscus flowers. And this one has just really neat kind of like funky script letters, because they're not like completely solid. They have like a little bit of a funky sketch to them, like they're actually handwritten. It says thank you, and it has a lot of sentiments. You get a lot of things, so you can get it. I wish they had one that said happy birthday, but apparently they're not about that. But it has celebrate wishes, and these go around the colored ones, so you could do multiple colors. Personally, I think that's really hard to do sometimes, so I'm just going to use the thank you or celebrate. So I'm making just some cards for Sabrina, for her to use. This was my little template, what I was practicing on and playing with, and this is what the actual word comes out. And see, and there's certain areas where it's like a little blotchy and sketchy, and that's how it's supposed to be. So if you make a boo-boo like I do often, that is perfect. So nobody's gonna know, and so I wanted to go, this is the kind of feel that I was going through. I tried many of my inks, and the only thing I don't have that is store-bought are the inks, because I have like Lawn Fawn, Stampin' Up, and some of the Tim Holtz, but only for the Tim Holtz, really the only things I have are the ones for distressing and vintaging things out. So I'm going ahead and use, this is from Stampin' Up, this is Regal Rose, and Pear Pizzazz. Now, these are layering stamps, and I was trying to figure out how to do it with one ink. One ink pad. I've seen videos, Marilyn G, she is super awesome, and she has done videos where you do these layering stamps like the Altany ones with less ink pads. So this is what I ended up being able to do with one ink pad, and it's 3 layers. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the first one, and then this one is going to go like right here with the little thank you through it or whatnot. I have no idea what we're doing, you guys. We're going to figure this puppy out. So I already have my stamps on acrylic blocks, and here are some that I've already stamped, and I cut out for the second layer because fussy cutting is a pain in the butt. And normally, even if these come with the die, 90% of the time I don't buy the die because I'd rather spend more money on stamps. So I've gone ahead and, so these are, I'm going to make 2 cards real quick. I've gone ahead, because this was just my little sample doohickey, and I've already cut the mats. Now the mats I'm cutting at, so you can do this easily at home. I'm cutting at 3 3/4 by 5 inches for the front mat where I'm going to stamp on and layer things. And then I just realized that I wanted to have a little bit of a background, and I thought this card, and I think this is Guava from Lawn Fawn, but you can use any paper. It doesn't have to perfectly match, because here's the thing, when you have multiple layers and different shades, it doesn't have to match, because who says which one you're going to match it to. So the mats are going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 1/4, because this way I can get them done faster. And we're going to turn it, and this one is going to be 4. Now these are going to go on A2 size cards, and so I'm just cutting out these dimensions so they work out perfectly for the A2 size cards. Now I've gone ahead and taken my paper, and I'm using heavyweight cardstock on both of these, the mats and the paper. This is 8.5 by 11. I just went ahead and cut it at 4 1/4, and I'm scoring it at 5.5 on the lengthwise or landscape, whichever you prefer. So we just score it at 5.5. This is just super easy peasy. What am I doing? To get some cards going, because I know sometimes I actually have issues and hard time getting cards done. And more recently this year have I actually started to do A2 size cards, because before I would make my cards like 5 by 7 or 5 by 5, like really large cards, and it's very daunting sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. So here I am. I don't stamp on a stamp pad or anything because I'm too cheap to buy one. I'd rather buy more stamps. I just go ahead and stamp on a pile of my scratch paper. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And I'm trying to plan my Flamingo. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see. Some of these I already cut out. I'm just going to use them as samplers. So I'm gonna put one there, and then this I'm just gonna stamp the palms around it. Put one there, and one here. Then, okay, cool beans. Let's see how this works. So we're gonna see how this puppy works out. I'm going to go ahead and get now the key to doing multi-layer stamps with one ink pad is to stamp off. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm trying to remember if I stamped off once or twice. So you get your stamp nice and juicy. And you can see here, there's the 3 when you stamp off. This is too dark. I want this to be the layers of the second and third layer. So I'm just going to go ahead and honestly, I sometimes prefer to oh, poops. Look what I did. So I just totally messed that one up. Let's go to the next one. Let's give this another try. I'm sitting here telling you to stamp off, and I go ahead and do this. All right. So get it nice and juicy. We're going to stamp off, and then we're going to stamp it down. Now with these layered stamps, sometimes it's easier to actually do it backwards. So I'm going to do one this way. Now we're going to do the second layer. Now even though you stamp off the second layer, you will still get a darker tone because you are layering it on a second time. So we are looking for it. And see, and there is the second layer. So even though it's the same one you stamped it off, you still get some definition. So I think I might have boo-booed that one up. So I'm going to do it again in a minute. But we're going to go ahead and take the third layer. Crap. So, okay. So I had to cut the video and start over on that panel because after I said crap, I started cussing left and right. Because I was getting it almost perfect, and if you guys know, layering stamps are a pain in the butt sometimes. So here I went ahead and did the first layer with the Flamingo. I already have this one stamped out. Now on this first panel, the first card I'm going to make with the white cardstock is actually heavyweight cardstock from Recollections, and it actually gives it a darker tone than when I use the regular cardstock, the 65-pound cardstock from Recollection. So I went ahead and used the one that I already had stamped up, which I cut out, and I'm layering the foam. Now, this is the 3M foam, the 3M mounting foam. I got this huge roll from one of the office supply stores. And I go ahead and try to make... I had tried to redo it. So here I am. I cut this panel. This little panel that I'm doing the sentiment on is 1 inch wide, and it's about 3 inches. I didn't perfectly measure the length, mainly because I was going to snip off the ends of it on the right-hand side. So I did stamp on one that says thank you and one that says celebrate. So I can have 2 sentiments for that same card. And I'm using Tuxedo Memento Black ink on this one, as you can see right there. Now I am stamping it more to the sentiment more to the left, and I'm also going to do a fishtail banner end on the end closer to the left of the actual sentiment. So here's the first layer. Now I'm going to go ahead and change out my stamps. I'm using the 2-layer leaf stamp, the palm fronds leaf stamp. It is 2 layers. As you can see right here, I'm just testing out how I am going to do it. With one ink color, again, I'm using the Pear Pizzazz. I'm doing 3 different layers, 3 different leaves. So to give it a different texture, I'm stamping the base, the solid base, also the solid base stamped off once, and that color, and then the intricate section, the second stamp, I do stamp over that as well. But I'm also stamping off the lightest one, as you can see, just the main palm stamped off once, the lightest one, and it has all 3 of them there. So here's the thank you. I just went ahead and stamped it. Now, after I tried the sentiment, I saw that there was going to be more space, empty space, and I wanted this to look more detailed. So I was able to stamp the palms a little bit more because the bottom part was going to be behind the thank you, the sentiment. I went ahead and just used the mounting foam from the second Flamingo. Now, I struggled with this Flamingo because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do, if I wanted the thank you above it or underneath its legs. I just didn't want one of the letters to be missing, and then someone asked me, well, what is that? So here I am adhering the main card front, which is 3 by 3/4 by 5, to the base in the guava from Lawn Fawn, and that one is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I wanted to decorate the inside of the card just because it's all white, and I went ahead and I used the palms as well, just like I did on the front, just a little bit on each side, so you are still able to write on it. Now, this is the second one, and I'm going backwards with the stamping. I've noticed that I'm able to layer it a lot better if I start with the third stamp and then work my way backwards to the solid one. And honestly, I've noticed that with all of these many times that I've tried with Flamingo, I've gotten a better stamping. So here's the second stamp of the palm, which is the more detailed one. I went ahead and stamped it directly on there with the green ink, and then I stamped it off once when I layered the second layer. Like I said, I'm using 1 ink color for the green and 1 ink color for the pinks, so that way you can see how many dimensions you can get. I completely forgot to add the beak, which is just the Memento Black ink as well, on my stamp. And the funny thing is, I almost forgot on all of them when I did my practice run, but I always go back. I'm like, there's something missing. So, and it just really offsets it very well. On this one, I went ahead and stamped off the palms all over. I decided, since this was going to be a celebrate stamp, since I didn't have a happy birthday stamp, it only has celebrate, I wanted to look like a flamingo party. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 flamingos. The first one was stamped directly on the card base, on the card front, and the second one was 1 layer of the foam stamp, and the third one will have 2 layers of it. And I just wanted to put them right behind, and I did end up taking the foam out of the tail from the second one just to kind of make it flatter, so the third one would actually layer on top perfectly. And I just went ahead and glued it with my Scotch Quick Dry for the tail of the second Flamingo. Now I'm going to just go ahead and put some dimensional foam again underneath, in between the flamingos, the flamingo legs, because I didn't want to struggle with that this time. Like the first one, I cut it off and then reassembled it. Basically, I did surgery. Once again, I'm just going ahead and putting it on the background, and it's all cut down 1/4 of an inch. That way it gives it the dimension, because the white cardstock is white, then it has the guava, and then the white card base. The card front, excuse me. So, and I did layer it with the mounting foam, and this is how they came out, you guys. I hope you guys like it. And also make sure you check out Sabrina's channel for next Saturday, and I hope this helped with some of your store-bought cards, and thanks for watching, you guys. Bye, everyone.